Last night I had my phone stolen from the back of an Uber by a prostitute in Mexico City, and this is the story about how that happened. So in my 8 years of traveling the world, I have had very little things stolen from me. There's been two other instances. One of them was when I was at a nude beach in St. Martin in the Caribbean, and we put our clothes and everything in the car. They smashed the window and stole our suitcases, so we only had our underwear to go to the police station in. The second time I was in Montreal, I parked my car outside a friend's apartment, stayed there overnight, woke up, they had smashed the window and taken one bag that I kept in the back. This third experience here was also in a car, but different circumstances. And I gotta say, with what we do on this channel, abandoned places, there's someone there, ladder going to the roof, crazy locations.
Can you ask if it's okay to take photos with a cell phone? No.
Hanging out in areas that generally people wouldn't recommend you hang out in. I think that a lot of these dangerous places aren't as dangerous as they seem, and the world is generally a pretty safe place if you have decent street sense and can have some decent self-awareness. Mexico City is no exception. I love this city, and I was being a little bit ridiculous, a little bit silly, and ended up losing my brand new iPhone X. I was at this place called Taco Game, which is this bar where you can have tacos and you can play video games. I called an Uber, said bye to my friend, jumped in, and I headed north in Mexico City to the apartment that we're in now. So we were driving up this particular avenue in Condesa, which is like a trendier neighborhood, a nice neighborhood. This particular avenue is called Nuevo Leon, and it is kind of, I wouldn't call it a red light district, but it is a more seedy area where you can find ladies of the evening, let's call them, all lined up like it is a catwalk, just trying to, and well, they're catcalling basically everybody who drives by, especially somebody like me in an Uber. And we were talking about the job of prostitution. Is that more lucrative? Can you make more money doing that than maybe working at a restaurant or having a little shop or maybe cleaning a house or whatever you might do as a job? And we didn't know the answer because we didn't know how much these ladies charged. I didn't know, my Uber driver didn't know, and we thought, wouldn't it be funny if we just stop for a second and ask one of these ladies how much she charges? And that is when this whole night took a turn from fun and hilarious to stressful and a little bit dangerous. Was that one decision to ask how much one of these ladies charges for her services. So what happened next is I started laughing, my Uber driver started laughing, and we're like, let's just pull over, you know, what's it gonna hurt? We're not gonna pick her up. We just wanna know how much she charges, and so we can know if it's better or worse than minimum wage. And so we pull up, and there's this one particular lady who's a little bit larger. And we ask, well, the Uber driver asks, he's like, hola, ¿qué tal? My client in the back is interested in your services. What do you charge for your services? And so she looks at me and she gives like this really kissy face, and she, you know, rubs her chest a little bit, and she goes 200 for, let's call it halfway, and 500 for a home run. And we kind of look at each other and we kind of laugh, and she's very serious. She very much wants the business, and we're like, okay, maybe later. We keep driving. And so we start discussing, we're like, wow, that seems very inexpensive, right? I don't know how much this costs in other countries necessarily, but 500 pesos for everything, it seems very cheap. And we thought maybe this lady, her prices were a little bit lower than the standard. We didn't know. So we saw another lady, we pulled up, and we asked her, and immediately when we came close, she saw me, she saw the Uber driver, and she pulled down her shirt, and she walked up and she pressed her chest against the window and opened the door. So I'm here, I'm sitting in the Uber, right here, being like a polite little boy. All of a sudden, a woman against the window, and she opens the door, and she sits down, her legs facing this way on my lap. And she's like, hola papi, what do you want tonight? I'll give you anything. And so we're like, well, what are your prices? Because we wanted to check. And she's, oh, well, and they were the same prices, 200 and 500. And we were like giggling because she was being super flirty and super forward. And I was a little bit uncomfortable because all of a sudden we were joking around, and there's a girl sitting on my lap who's half naked trying to like sell me her services. And this was an Uber drive, right? Like, she leans over and she's like trying to like whisper in my ear, and I was not particularly interested in any of that. And so we're like, okay, thank you, you know, we might come back. And she leans, she gives me like a little mwah face, and she leaves. And so she closes the door, and we like get out of there like, and we take off. Fast forward about a minute. I think about that I didn't answer some texts from Marinella and some friends. And so I go to grab my phone. I thought my phone was, no? Oh, no, maybe it's, oh my God. When she sat on my lap, she took the phone. And I had to double check, no. Gone. This is only about a couple minutes later. So we're like, okay, let's go back. And so we take a loop around the block, we come back, and of course, she is not there. She is gone. So we're brainstorming, and I'm like, okay, well, I can locate my iPhone with the Find My iPhone feature. Oh, but I don't have the phone. Oh wait, but the Uber driver has an iPhone. So we opened up his iPhone, I popped in my credentials into Find My iPhone, and nothing. She had immediately turned off the phone the second she left the taxi. So at that point, we didn't know what to do. And he's like, well, listen, how much money do you have on you now? And I said, well, I have 700 pesos, which is like maybe 40 US dollars. And he goes, there's a lot of girls here. They all definitely know each other. Let's go back and see if we can get one girl to bring to get the phone, and we'll pay her the money. And so I was like, well, what are our other options, right? So I get my 40 US dollars, and the Uber driver goes and speaks to another girl that was standing with her originally. And he said, listen. I know it's business. I know she has our phone. We have 700 pesos, and we will give you this money if you can get it back. And she goes, 700 pesos. She can get a lot more than that for the phone, you know. And we're like, okay, well, listen, we'll get a little bit more money out. We'll come back. How much do we need? Like 200 US dollars, 300 US dollars. Then she goes, oh, you know what? I'm just feeling really nice today. I don't need anything. Just give me the 700 pesos, and I'll go get her. We'll bring it back. No hard feelings. We'll split the money, me and her. We look at each other, me and the Uber driver, and we're like, there's no way we're gonna trust a lady with this money to go find her friend and come back. She told us to do a loop, and when we come back, she'll be there. And we're like, there's no way she's gonna be there. She's gonna do the same thing again. But she's like, listen, I promise, he's a foreigner. I know he's probably here just for a little while. We don't want to have a bad time. He's really cute. I'd love to have his services, yada, yada, yada. And so at that point, we're like, let's try it. So we gave her the money, and she said, okay, do a loop, come back in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I'll be here. My friend won't be, but I'll be here with your phone, and that'll be it. And so we're like, okay, you'll be here. And she's like, I'll be here. And we're like, no. Right here. You will be right here in 5 minutes. Oh, yeah. We do a loop. We come back. She's not there. She's gone. She's gone. Just like her friend. Gone. So at that point we pull over and we're like, what can we do? Okay, maybe the police in Mexico City aren't particularly known to be super trustworthy. Needless to say, when we were talking about it, coincidentally, a police car did go by. We followed him. Pulled over beside him at a light, and we said, listen, my phone got stolen. I'm a Canadian. I'm just here for a little bit. Is there anything we can do? And he goes, well, is she still there? And we said, no, she's not still there. And the police officer literally goes like this and says, if she comes back, we'll go talk to her. But if she doesn't come back. So that was how helpful the police were in that situation. So at this point, an hour had gone by. We did loops and loops trying to catch her. Of course she's not gonna come back. Meanwhile, for myself, I know that if I go back to the apartment where I am now, I go on the computer, I know there's Find My iPhone, there's Lock My iPhone, there's Erase My iPhone. And so at this point, I tell the Uber driver, we were both pretty distraught, let's just go back to the apartment. And hopefully somehow I can contact her because she has the phone through the computer and let her know that we'll pay a ransom or something for the phone. I just don't want to buy a brand new phone. It's the last thing I want to do. So I get back to the apartment. It's like 2 a.m., so about 2 hours after this all happened. Marinella's here. She is not happy because I said I was going to be home at 12 and I was ignoring all of her texts because I didn't have a phone. A lady had it that I did not know where she was. So we come back and we have this conversation.
Keep it like.
So basically, you probably heard most of the story by now. I just got back, it's about 2 o'clock, and we are trying to figure out the best way to get the phone back. So now I'm back at the apartment, I can put it on lost mode. So what lost mode is, through the iCloud account, I can have a number appear and a message appear when the person turns on the phone next. So the second she turns it on, or her pimp turns it on, or the guy at the pawn shop turns it on, they'll see a number and they'll see a message. I don't want to call the police on her. I don't want to do anything special. I don't think I can even do that. If I wanted to call the police on her, I don't think they would do anything. All I want her to know is that if we can arrange something, I'll pay her a couple $1,000 pesos to get the phone back. And also, that I'm just going to erase the phone. The phone will turn into a big, expensive black brick that's worth nothing with a press of a button. So, how can we put that down in Spanish? Llámame.
And it's gonna be my number, right?
Sí, look at your number.
So llámame.
Okay.
So it's now the next day. It's been 20 hours, 18 hours, something like that. They have not turned the phone back on. I'm thinking that I will, if there is need of a part 2 for this, I will make a part 2 if we actually end up meeting in a Denny's or something at 2 in the afternoon to do some kind of crazy phone drug deal. I will report back on that, but I would expect now that the phone is gone forever and it will never be turned on. Again, I don't think she'll be able to sell it. Maybe she will, maybe she not, but iPhones these days do a pretty good job locking out anybody who does try to steal a phone. The motto, experiences over possessions, right now is echoing through my mind. It cost me the phone. The experience was what it was. It was an adventure for sure. It'll be a story I tell for a long time, and that is, I guess, the important part, right? A lot worse things can happen, and I learned a lesson. Don't let ladies of the evening sit on your lap and press themselves against an Uber window. Just go home. Curiosity killed the cat. That's what I've heard in the past. I also want to reinforce how awesome both this city and this country are, and you shouldn't base your ideas on this experience that we had because we were two silly dudes out having a silly experience in a sketchy zone, asking sketchy questions to sketchy people, and we're rolling with the punches maybe a little bit more than we should have, and those kinds of people steal things, and we were dealing with those kinds of people. That is not a normal Mexico City experience. You will not experience that when you come here, and I guarantee this country and this city will blow your mind if you come. You know the motto. I've lived the motto, and I'll catch you in the next video tomorrow. Peace.